Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 380. I am your Joe Dix, joined by Mark Augustiniak.
What's up?
Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, we're diving all in for hot takes on Cyberpunk 2077, a new update on Halo Infinite, that's right. And later on, we'll take one final bite into the onion. Stay tuned for all of that and more. Of course, our, I was going to say hot reactions, but I can't even make a joke about hate react. People still do reaction videos? That's still a thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But now it's VTuber reactions, right?
More or less.
We should... we should make a new series where we react to unboxings. Just other people on YouTube unboxing things and we react to it. I think that's a market that has not been...
There's already unboxing reaction videos? Can we react to those reaction videos?
I see, yeah, wherever we go down the exception line.
Could we print them? Not print. Could we cut them to tape? Push them to tape? How do you... Whatever that terminology... Whatever that verb is called. I forget how that works. We verb that to a tape, and then we unbox the reaction of the unboxing video, and then we react to each other unboxing. Anyway, Matt, who's your favorite VTuber?
I don't even know what exactly you mean by VTuber.
Oh, you got a fun world ahead of you, my friend.
I don't think I do.
Mark, can you recommend a VTuber for Matt to check out?
I don't know her name off the top of my head.
I don't know any of the names. I just know that they exist.
Yeah, like it's usually just somebody with like a virtual like anime waifu persona instead of seeing them. It's kind of like a filter for their webcam.
Got it.
But,
okay.
Imagine Hatsune Miku, but someone doing it in their bedroom.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna pass on that.
It's the same thing as watching a streamer, except it's, an anime computer graphics generated avatar.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nah, that's alright.
I know, like, on Twitter, they have I follow this one page where it's, I think most of these VTubers are, like, Japanese or whatever, but there's, like, very few moments where they speak English, and it's usually, like, a funny moment or something, so I just watch the highlights from that. But usually it's this one VTuber who is like basically just an anime girl with dog ears.
Okay.
And I just found her screams to be pretty funny.
I don't know what I'd want in a VTuber.
I don't know either.
But I'm also not opposed to... I could watch a VTuber. I've watched worse things than a VTuber. You know what I mean? I think the future is VTubing. Do you think... Have the brands caught on yet? That's my question. Like, is Ronald McDonald a VTuber yet?
I feel like if any of them were to do it, it'd be Wendy's.
Oh, you are absolutely right. They would make some weird... You think it would be a chibi version of Wendy or like a...
no.
Uber realistic anime...
I think it'd be like a kind of Fire Emblem looking.
Yeah, okay, I could do it. Yeah, man, you're not. What about an Arby's? What does Arby's have a mascot? The little oven mitt? Is that what it is?
It's just a hat.
Yeah, do that, but as a VTuber.
Hat-chan.
Yeah.
We have the meats.
We have the meats, and Matt, we have the Coca-Colas. Let me tell you how happy I was last week when I got a super secret special email that said, "Hey, Coca-Cola Insiders Club former member, we're excited to announce that we're bringing it back for 3 months, and here's an exclusive link just for you to sign up." Got me locked in for 3 whole months. They're just doing a limited run, I guess, initially or something. So I think it's January, February, March. I get 3 boxes. We'll see. I sent you guys the link for the public, for the peasants to sign up. Did you all jump in?
I did not know.
Oh,
if this was any other time besides Christmas, I maybe would have.
I thought you were sending a link just to show what you were getting.
Oh no, I was sending it in case you guys wanted it. But no, I got it. I have no idea what'll be in it. If you recall, the last one I got was a top secret surprise box they sent mid quarantine that said, "Hey, sorry we had to cancel on you. Here's a free one on us." And they sent out the Coke coffee coming to stores, I think next month. So this January we got Coke Energy finally, thankfully. Which Coke Energy, Matt, how are you hanging in there with the Coke Energies these days?
Oh, when I see them, I buy them.
I love it. Mark, have you crossed over into the true world that is?
I have not. I don't really drink Coke. That's the thing. Like, I'll drink vanilla Coke, but that hasn't been anywhere. So,
yeah, dude, it's really completely. Yeah.
But I only have that mixed with Kraken. Most dark sodas I don't drink by themselves.
Yeah, that's probably the smart thing to do. What about vanilla Coke coffee?
I mean,
I don't remember if that was an option.
I would try it. It'd probably be like a more cappuccino based or something, or like a French vanilla kind of thing, which I'd totally be down for. Like, I don't drink much coffee either, but I will if I'm at a diner. It's just an absolute. Like, I can't not have coffee there. I don't even care if it's black or cream and sugar, whatever. Just has to be coffee.
I'm trying to find the box they sent back in. I don't know, man. I'm like all the way back in May and I don't see it. I know I have a picture of it somewhere. Anyway, that Coke coffee stuff's coming. I'm very excited though that there's a new Coke box, or several rather, in my future. I didn't think we'd see the day, and I'm happy that it's on. Oh, there it is. Coke coffee. Yeah, there's vanilla and dark blend, which they were. I liked them, dude. I'm very, very excited. Speaking of very excited, I'm also very excited for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, as it's currently known. Particularly after rolling credits on Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity this week.
Hey.
Which I took Mark's advice once this week. I went against your advice with another game I'll talk about later, but I took your advice, did not go for 100%. I probably, against my better time with the game, I probably would have had a better time with the game had I spent a little more time, but I like jumped in way under leveled to some of those final missions to the point where I was like letting myself die before I knew a big fight was coming, so I could just retry with full health without, because I don't think there was penalty for that. Maybe you don't get as many like sticks at the end or something, but generally I didn't notice a penalty. And yeah, I think that game was good. I think the challenge stayed up all the way to the end. I think that there were some good surprises in terms of combat and combat scenario. I think, like you said, like there's a point in the game where you really need to be doing the Sheikah Slate moves, you know, the Cryonis and Magnesis and all those things in counter to a big boss fight. But the game never teaches you that, or if it does it in one of the side missions that I never did. Where it says, like, where it slows you down and says, like, hey, when you see this symbol pop above an enemy, you need to do that before they can get their attack off. Like, nothing ever says that, but you do inherently learn it. And it's such a satisfying feeling when you see, like, the bomb symbol pop up against someone's, or above some thing's head, and then you just throw bombs at it and stun it, and you can move in really quickly and get their meter down, and then
depending on the
shield,
character,
do the weak smash. Yeah, of course.
Because everybody does the slate differently, and some are just really annoying with it.
Yeah, it's not always but I you know,
like it.
I really liked Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I think it was a game that, when it was announced, I was surprised and excited. I think first jumping into that world, you kind of feel like, hey, they really did a Breath of the Wild thing here. Like, they really wanted to. It felt like that, right? Like, it feels like that just without the combat and a little. But it's so rooted in that. I think by the end of it, it showed its, its Warriors origins a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's just because of the repetition of it. You know, it's not to say that, like, I think this one in the end is still a lot more than just slam Y until it's over. More so than the last Hyrule Warriors, or from what I can remember of it. But by the end of it, I was like, oh, this sucks that I can't just like get into a sprint with a button, right? Like Breath of the Wild, you just hit B or whatever it is to start sprinting, or it's not B's jump, I guess. Whatever it is, though.
You can sprint with a button.
What?
Like when you dash, you just hold it in and you just start running.
In this, I thought that you had to like push until the weapon is sheathed, and then an automatic dash will start.
I mean, that can happen, but if you just hit the dash button, it'll turn into a sprint.
All right, well, I stand corrected, and I feel like I wasted so much time. But you can't climb. I know that much, and you can't jump unless you're doing a wall jump. And like those little things like that made me miss the greater world of Breath of the Wild. I think that's where the warrior stuff sunk in the most. But either way, I think really good package. And when they inevitably put out DLC, I will probably grab that. I do want to go back through because you told me about some of the other secret characters that are in there that I want to try out. Even some of the main characters you unlock throughout the course of the game, I never got to try just because I got to the end pretty quickly. But again, super.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, like I still think like the story was definitely worth seeing through to the end, and just seeing all the nice little nods and details that they were still faithful to the source material and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say anything story specific, but we should talk about that and timeline stuff and all that fun. Yeah. Speaking of timeline, we have an updated timeline on Halo Infinite. Joseph Staten wrote there was a long, very big, massive update post for Halo Infinite this week, and Joseph Staten kicked it off this week with kind of a reintroduction of himself to the Halo community as he's stepped back into 343 proper after he's been at Microsoft since stepping away from Halo, but now he's back with Halo, fully to get this game out the door. He confirmed the new target launch date for Halo Infinite, fall 2021. And then after his kind of initial update, there's a full interview with members of the art team breaking down how things have changed in the game since we first saw it in July. The first chunk of the blog post really, they're talking to key art team members, or members, just maybe not key, but a lot of folks from the art team. It's three employees there, to address visual fidelity and art direction behind Halo Infinite following feedback from the game's first look. And the way that they kind of break down what has changed to me sounded like they went through the Digital Foundry video and wrote down everything that was said and then said, let's fix those things and address those things in a write-up. Do you guys think that the video in July was that bad?
I mean, I don't think it was. No, like I don't think it was that bad, because I also just know to expect things to change by the time the final product is there, and usually when people show stuff, it's never how it looks in the end. And just knowing their history, like obviously I would assume things would get better. I think their main point was just trying to show off just the feel of the game, I guess, more so than the details and everything.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, if anything, with 2020 and the time it was shown, I didn't expect much from the art department on that. The only thing I wanted to see was what kind of game that was, whether it was on Rails campaign or if it was open world. And when they pulled up the nav map, that was the more impactful thing than what any of that looked like, because I knew, like you said, still in development, that stuff's going to change. Also, COVID is weird this year, so who knows? Yeah.
Do you think that other people are as empathetic towards this, or do you think that they felt like the vocal minority was, I think, the strongest thing they had to address?
It's probably like from what I'm feeling, it's probably like an even mix. Like, you might have a lot like us that have like a close pulse to it and can have a better understanding of behind the scenes and production stuff to a point. And then you have people who just only see that video, not knowing anything, and they just expect the best of best because next gen, that's just in everyone's mind. So they expect everything just to be super pretty and nice all the time.
With the announcement that the game's coming fall 2021, do you think Microsoft just told everyone you shouldn't have bought a console until next fall?
Well, when you unwrap that box, it certainly seems like that, with all the Master Chief stuff around. But I've always looked at that console being a Game Pass machine, and they are very much still leaning into Game Pass, and the Game Awards just doubled down on that even more.
Yeah, I mean, when I went to the Perfect Dark page, the website for it, gigantic. It's just coming to Game Pass day one. It's they don't even want to tell you what the title of the game is. They just want you to know it's coming to Game Pass day one, no matter what it is. Do you think that do you think either of these consoles should have launched next year, or do you think that they're fine in the state that they are?
I personally think they're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, every console launch is going to have issues and bugs and things like that. It doesn't matter if you launched in 2018, 19, 20, 21. It doesn't matter what year. You're always going to experience that stuff. I mean, in Xbox's case, their big haymaker with Halo, that got pushed, so it made it seem weird, but you're not going to pause a whole console launch around a game. That just doesn't make any sense, and too many things would have to pivot, and that actually your life gets harder trying to pull that off. And then, PlayStation 5, at least that launched with a couple games exclusive to that machine, and it seems like the well is not going to dry up anytime soon here as you go into Ratchet and Clank, Horizon, Forbidden West. You got a God of War around the corner. Whether that makes it this year I guess next year, 2021, remains to be seen. But it seems like they got things they got some ammo in the chamber and are ready to fire some games out.
Jumping back to Halo specifically, later on they go into they show one of the multiplayer maps that's a work in progress and talk about how difficult it is to create a map of a specific size while also maintaining smooth 60 frames per second animation. Do you think that the more that these things are talked about, the more empathetic people become, or are there still going to be these first responders on any post that are just ready to, turn on the diarrhea gun and just start spraying?
I feel like that's the louder voice, even if it is a smaller quantity. I mean, because I almost didn't even read that full article, just because I'm just so used to video news and stuff like that. But now, I'm glad I read through it because I loved everything that they were talking about. I think it was very insightful. But most people who just react spontaneously, they're not going to have time or the patience to.
Yeah, like me, because I did not. You're better than me, Mark. I did not read it. And the only reason I saw this news was because I was scrolling through IGN and I saw the headline, Halo Infinite pushed to fall 2021. And of course that, I didn't even click on it. I was like, oh, all right, that's good to know.
I don't believe you. It said that. I feel like they would have said Halo Infinite release date announced, and then you have to click it to find out that it's fall 2021.
No, I'll double check. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure
if you got what you needed out of it without clicking on it, they probably did.
I may have clicked on it, though. They may have got me. I don't remember. I'm just
dunking on them because it's easy. So down in there, though, they do show off in the multiplayer map when they're talking about that. They show images of Spartans, some really good-looking Spartan armor with customization options. Does that bode well for the future of Halo Infinite? Is that what you want in Halo Infinite, is the ability to kind of make your own Spartan?
I mean, yeah, sure. Especially for multiplayer stuff, I think it's just it's a staple at this point. I thought what was really interesting was kind of they're kind of changing it up. So you'll still be able to customize kind of similar to Reach, but you don't pick colors anymore. Everything is coatings. So you lose the ability to pick your own color combinations, but the whole outfit will be one full theme design. And it's more than just colors. It's details and patterns and textures and all that. Yeah,
I think that's a neat approach to it, and then probably lends itself to being able to hunt for gear in that way.
Yeah. And I'm sure some of it might obviously some of it will probably have to be paid for or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's all
which
cosmetic.
makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine. But I just want to be cheap in single player, as long as that's still.
Yeah, I want to be able to drive the Banshee through places I'm not supposed to drive it. My final question for this: there's that piece of concept art shown off towards the bottom there. It's kind of the main key art that they show in the actual blog post. But Mark, you often criticize Bungie's Destiny for its clean sci-fi, lacking a bit of personality and grittiness to it. How do you feel about that piece of concept art shared?
Well, I guess it's one thing to see concept art and another to to see the game. I wasn't really too. I mean, it didn't really sway me any direction. It was just like, okay, it's just it's nothing new to me. Like, I've seen being on a Halo ring at sunset before.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's fair.
Like it just felt like it fit, but it also felt very I don't know, not too detailed, I guess, in my opinion, because it's just scenery, like I'm not really enthralled by that.
Something about that image made me feel more like Halo 5 than anything out of this.
Really?
I don't know. It looked more like that to me than...
It just reminded me of Halo 1.
I think everything they've shown has looked like Halo 1 to me, but something about that image specifically just felt like 5. I gotta look at it again to... Yeah, something about the, like, floating, like, obelisk with the blue thing at the bottom and, like, everything. Like, yes, Halo 1, but also, like, I think they do a good job of blurring the lines between, the old and the new and still moving it forward.
Yeah, I'm more excited to see what, like, the more, like, narrow corridor type stuff looks like, or city type stuff if they have that in there.
Yeah. So Matt, what's the next steps for Halo Infinite? What do you want? Do you want every 3 months we get a trailer? Do you want monthly updates from the team? Where are you sitting on this?
I don't know, because I don't want them to reveal too much, right? I would say I would keep this thing. I think this blog post is good. It because everyone was kind of asking what's going on with Halo. There was no date; it just seemed to be delayed indefinitely, which is never a good sign in video games. But no, they got this out of the way. It seemed like they announced what they're doing. am fine with this staying radio silent until, I mean, who knows what an E3 or something like that looks like. But around that time frame, to get back on the marketing wagon, let's do the Monster Energy thing again without the receipts this time that I still have that I haven't redeemed yet. And let's get that. What was it? Quad? What was the thing we came up with? Octo XP.
Octo. Oh yeah, that sounds right. Oh man, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forget too.
Let's make that a thing.
Yeah, that I forgot about E3.
I wouldn't want to see anything until summer, and then, I mean, I'm sure they're going to market the crap out of it after that once it's ready. But
yeah, Monster Energy and Octo XP.
But like,
do
as
you
far
guys
as
think it's still?
So sorry. So it's just as far as like videos go, like I'm fine with just show like one trailer that's like part cinematic, part gameplay, and that's it. And I mean, for me, I'll probably just be blackout after that. But
do you think that it's still coming to current gen or last? You think it's still coming to Xbox One?
Yes. I don't think you can go back on that.
I guess they could. I wonder if there'd be any stipulations to it, or any maybe certain features, or I mean, obviously visuals would be different, but I wonder how well it would run, or will it be like a Smash Brothers situation for Wii U and 3DS, where like because of the lesser one, the more upgraded one has to suffer?
Yeah, it has compromises because of that.
But
yeah,
being Halo, I can't. I mean, from what I've seen, it seems like things are looking pretty good. But
well, and I think the fact that Microsoft was willing to give the team another year to work on the game, shows that they're committed to making it right, no matter what.
And most of the stuff is there already, I feel. So they're not starting from scratch.
Yeah. Unless
Metroid.
they are. Yeah.
No, I have an idea. This could be a big pull out your massive dong Phil Spencer moment. What if he just debuts it, but it's the same exact trailer, like the same exact trailer, and then he's like, "Oh, you guys thought that looked bad? Here it is, but it's the same trailer with all the enhancements."
That's pretty good. That's a good move.
They won't do that
One
though.
must
But
have a slider.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Showing the
Like
differences.
Bloodstain did that. Igarashi did that. Remember he had that.
Dude, that was
the
such a
poop
good
video?
way. Such a good
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Showing the comments up on the screen that were just like everyone saying it looks like dog crap, and then yeah. I guess that's as good as any as a transition into probably our biggest talking point of the week. Cyberpunk 2077 is available for purchase as of Wednesday-ish.
PC, yes.
And you both have played it. So I have two questions to kick off this here conversation, and then I have a series of questions to talk about. In either one of you can jump in first here, but in your own words, give me a setup for the game that could fit in a tweet. And I'm talking 140 characters tweet here. But if someone were on the fence, I don't know what this game's about, should I buy it? What is the setup for the story or the setup for the game? Like, what is the idea here outside of, yeah, it's the guys who made The Witcher, guys and gals who made The Witcher, making a cyberpunky game?
Mark is going to have a better answer than me because I guess I don't even know like the full setup yet myself.
Oh man, for a tweet, I'd probably do something stupid and put it in like 3 bullet points or whatever. I guess the first one would be, cool cyberpunk city. Second bullet point would be a grittier Borderlands. And third bullet point would be, well, I only say that just because of it's not cel shaded, but there are just like a butt ton of guns. And third bullet point would be genitalia. I don't know.
That seems to be the one of the starting points. Is the story itself? Is it like corporation bad, take down bad guy? Like, is that the?
That's not the gist I'm getting.
Yeah.
What are you getting, Matt?
I think I haven't hit the moment, but I feel like this is a redemption story, and you're going to meet some people along the way to help you get that. But I'm sure there's going to be plenty of twists and turns along the way of your redemption story.
That on par with kind of what you're seeing, Mark?
More or less. It's definitely like, see, because I'm not sure how much of like the life path you pick matters in terms of like that. Like, I'm sure there's some type of like telltale thing where it's like all your decisions will probably lead to the same conclusion, more or less, to some degree.
Or three different endings, but they're all the same. It's just a different color.
Yeah. So like I could see something like that, but as far as like a corporation thing, because like it probably, I feel like it might play a part, but not the biggest part.
Okay. When I think of Cyberpunk, I think of stuff like that. But
I totally agree.
But it's not the forefront focus. So I guess generally, yes or no, do you like the game so far? I know that's kind of like flat. I'm gonna ask this question twice. I'm gonna ask right now, just yes or no, do you like the game so far?
I'll say yes.
Okay, great. Matt, you praised The Witcher 3. I'm sorry, you praised Witcher 3 because it's just Witcher 3 for its integrated storytelling with side quests. So how does Cyberpunk 2077 handle storytelling in side missions?
So this is the thing, because I haven't really hit the moment in the game yet. I can't say for sure. I mean, all the storytelling and like the UI stuff actually reminds me a lot of The Witcher, even down to like the subsystems. Well, I'm sure you have questions about that. We'll dive into that more specifically. But like something that I thought was wrong with me in Witcher 3, the Wild Hunt, I think it's just Wild Hunt too. Anyway,
no, I think it is though. I'll bang it.
All right, whatever.
Sorry.
Anyway, one of the things with Witcher is I thought I was just throwing it a story because it was number 3, and it's definitely a continuation of the first 2 games. So I felt like I was doing always a lot of catching up. But I feel like Cyberpunk's kind of doing the same thing, where it just kind of throws you in there and it just starts saying characters' names without this big introduction to a character. Maybe besides Jackie's the only exception, but you just start to learn the characters just from world building and just seeing and hearing that character's name time and time again. And so I'm getting similar vibes in the way they are like they world build character settings, that kind of stuff between the 2 games though, when it comes to that at least.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Okay.
I can't believe I'm wrong this whole time. Do you feel, Mark, have you run into side quest stuff that feels like I remember that one piece that you talked about, Matt, that like I don't know, like you just found someone in a field or something. What was it was like a really cool side mission where like you found something and then it was like that led you down a thing to a thing to a thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple moments where just like this bizarre shit happens. Like I remember the one I think I talked about on air with the goat and how I had to go save the goat from animals, but then when I came back, he becomes the goat and like this demon of hell to tell you a fortune. Or there was, I think, early on in the game, there's the woman in the well where you're kind of investigating the area to figure out what happened with someone's death, and it just happened that they died in a well, and there's all this backstory behind it that has to relate to the world around you, and you kind of understand the world a little bit better that way. But yeah, like I said, I haven't gotten there yet in the game to answer that question.
Have you seen stuff like that yet, Mark?
Yes. Not too, I guess, that extravagant as something like The Witcher would do, but I wouldn't be surprised if I would run into that later. One I ran into was kind of dark, and the other one was a little more interesting. So, like, there's, like, all these icons on the map, right? And I didn't know what any of it meant. And then I would, hover over a thing, and they're all color-coded. So that kind of helps you with whatever. Yellows are typically your, like, more story-focused missions with some side ones in there. Anything that's like a white icon is more just like trivial things like shops and whatnot. And then the blue ones are more like, yeah, they're kind of like side quests, but they're more crime-based, I guess. Yeah,
I would say it's equivalent to Spider-Man and like the random crime that you kind of come across.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's not random, it's staged there.
Yeah, and they're all different. Like, they're never the same thing. And some of them are just a question mark. You won't know what is until you get there. And so for this one, I was on my way to somewhere, and I just happened to come across that. I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. And it's like police radio called in, was like, oh, we have some organized crime like going on in here. And as they're saying that, I'm seeing a dude shooting a guy right out front of this like headquarters. I'm like, all right. Let me go check this out. And then, like, he started fighting me, and so I killed him. I went in there, ransacked the whole place. Turns out, they were hoarding these files. Like this gang captured this father and son who basically hack into people's stuff and just like maintain files for data or whatever. But the type of data that they found is like really messed up. And I think this all happened because a preacher lost his son, like he got kidnapped or something, and they murdered him. And then so you had to like try to find out, like, I guess, what happened. And then turns out with the files these people were forced to keep, you get to read what the files were about, and it was like abducting children and just doing really messed up things to them, and you can put the pieces together there. And so I decided to, like, I know they were like forced to like keep that stuff or whatever, or like maintain it or whatever for money or whatever, because I sell data to people. But the way data is handled in this game is more like simulation. So you can like relive this stuff because like memories are captured. They're called
good old brain dance.
Yeah. So these are brain dances of very fucked up things. And so I decided, I thought because I had a bat in my hand, it would be non-lethal because it's described as a non-lethal weapon. But I ended up killing the guy who kept the data, and then his son was like, "No, Dad," and I killed him too.
There you go. Magnus. There we go.
Yeah. I was just like, nah, okay. So I took the files and, gave it to the police and everything, whatever. And then the more interesting one to me was I found this monk that was full of cybernetic parts, and monks don't do that. They don't believe in that type of modification. But it was forced upon him by a gang known as the Maelstrom. And for me in this game, I don't like Maelstrom. I do not let a single one live. If I run into them, I will murder them at all costs. The monk, he said this happened to him, but his brother got captured, and they're about to do the same thing to him. And they do this just for fun. It's whatever. They just love torturing people like this and putting implants in them and whatever. And when you see this guy that's already been happened to him, like his arm is replaced, like part of his like face is replaced. He has like scars all over his face, and it's just mangled. So I'm like, all right, I'll go save your brother. He's like in some little warehouse, like down the street, whatever. But they wanted me to do it passively. I was like, okay. I don't know what's gonna happen if I do it passively, but I'll try. I didn't give him any promises. So you can like come up behind a person and like choke them, and then you can just knock them out and not kill them. So I did that to everybody, and it was really easy to like distract them and just get up behind them. So I saved the brother, and he was so thankful that like I didn't kill anybody. And then he went out to he went off because like this is all by a harbor. So he went off by like the edge of the harbor just to like sit there like on his knees and just like meditate and relax and get a breather. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll go tell your brother that you're fine. And they're like, oh, thank you. And I was rewarded, whatever. But then I went back with a lead pipe and I beat each one in their head. So it gave me that street cred and experience. But I was like, look, I to them, I took them out passively. But after the fact,
but they don't know. They don't need to know.
They don't need to know.
What monk don't know won't hurt him.
No.
So that sounds like pretty like engaging storytelling, at least, right? Like environmental storytelling and emergent gameplay, rather, if you will, emergent storytelling. Is that kind of the gist of world building? Is like those little moment-to-moment things where you meet a character and you go through? Are there audio logs? Are there text records? Like what other like? Do you feel like there's a solid world here? I think that's like something established.
I definitely think there's a world here. A lot of it can be, I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say overwhelming exactly, but some of it can feel out of place. Excuse me. Like the tech stuff is fine. Like you find that everywhere. You can either choose to like pick up the note and read it later, or read it right there without having to pick it up. You can go through people's computers and like read emails and conversations between people to give context. There's files that you can look through as well. Your phone plays a part in this as well. Like you'll get text messages from people. The only thing that kind of broke it for me was like, and this happened during the side quest, was I got a phone call from like some cop that I'm friends with or whatever. And she's talking to me, but at the same time, as soon as I finish this side mission with the monk, I'm having two conversations at once. And like a little like QTE popped up to like you kind of have like a bar to respond in a certain amount of time to somebody, kind of like a Telltale game. I didn't see it right away because I was reading. There was like 2 layers of text on the screen, and V is talking twice to 2 different people at the same time, so I couldn't listen to both conversations. And like the phone calls they happen too much, in my opinion. Like, even if you don't answer the call, you're forced to talk to some of these people, and you just have to sit through it no matter what you're doing. And she's like, everybody has your number. Everybody knows how to just call and talk to you. Or just like they just expect you to like. I don't know.
Maybe a Metal Gear game isn't for you then, Mark.
I guess. What, is there like 5 conversations at once going on?
Oh, no, I was just saying that codec rings nonstop.
I mean, like, I'm fine with it ringing, but I don't know. I also like the idea of like traveling to a city, going to a new area, actually having a quest to meet the person, to like give it reason, and not just, I heard about you. Come see me if you ever want to blah, blah, blah. It's like, why? Who gave you my number?
I think you're starting the duplicate phone call thing is, I think, the next point I want to bring up. But I'm happy to hear there is at least a world, because I feel like there's what are 2 examples? Like, there's the Final Fantasy VII Remake world where you're walking around and NPCs are all essentially the same. There's not really a general sense that there's kind of an idea that like this world is lived in, but when you go and talk to people, it's pretty generic. Where I feel like when you described The Witcher earlier this year, it was like there's always something, and it felt real to an extent. And I think that I expected that realism to be kind of injected into this as well. But the duplicating audio introduces an interesting topic. Bugs. How is the game running for you both? You both are on PC. Which
it's the superior one, it seems like.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, I have one gripe with this game. It's not even a bug. There's no internal FPS counter, and it's bothering the hell out of me to figure out like what settings are best for what I have. Like, I can't, like, I'm good with 30, I'm good with 60, but like the in between I'm not good with, and I can't tell too much of a difference between like 80 and 90 frames if I can get it that high. But like, yeah, I'm struggling. That's like one thing. That's not even a bug. I just wish they had it. But no, the only thing I ran into was the first time I looked into a mirror. Like, I can tell like the game switched like for the animation, but when it did that, like the gamma correction got all like weirdly like white and washed out. And like when I looked in the mirror, like it was like all white. I can barely see my dude's eyes. But as soon as I exited out, went back in, it was fine. But that's like really the only bug I have encountered in like my realistic 4 hours, not including my 2 hours that I passed out at the keyboard last night.
No, that's not the case for me.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of floating items.
Yeah.
Usually it's just something static. Like if we'll use Jackie for example, because he's like your kind of companion in the when you start out in this game. Usually, like, if he's holding 2 guns, usually it's just the guns there and not him. Or if he's, like, eating something, he's using chopsticks, there's, like, there's a pair that he's holding, and then there's just a static pair right in the same spot. So you see 2 pairs of chopsticks, but only one being held, or stuff like that. Those are whatever. They're, like, they're not there forever. They go away after some time. It just has to, I guess, refresh itself, whatever. But I haven't had any bugs that, like, frustrated me, I guess, other than like if I was like soft locked somewhere because something just didn't animate when it should or whatever. But my favorite was I was in this room, and funny because it's how I said earlier with like the timer with the dialogue, you have like a certain amount of time to respond. So sometimes I just don't respond at all, and I love to see what happens then. And so I didn't let it. I let it go all the way down, and a fight broke out because of it. And I had a shotgun, and that felt great because shooting somebody with a double barrel, they just they go full ragdoll, like they feel the impact and like fly across the room. Probably very unrealistic, but at the same time, that's what I love about it. This wall has like a fence. It's like a wall, some computer stuff, and then it's like kind of fenced off. So he smacked up against the fence, and I just like kept shooting just shotgun shells into him. But because of it, it was slowly clipping him through the fence and wall, and he just ended up just getting sucked into it completely. And then he's on the other side of the wall, still alive, but I can't move on until he's dead. So this room was closed off. So like it was great that he morphed through. Like I found that hilarious, but I also just like he could hear me. Because every time you shot your gun, it would set off, like, a hostile alarm thing, like, let you know you're in a hostile environment now. And you could hear him talking shit to you, but I couldn't hit him anymore after that, so I just had to reload the save and be a little more careful of my surroundings.
Speaking of humor, to step away from the bugs for a second, I think that some of the more interesting writing in Cyberpunk is often how corporations are depicted, advertisements are strewn about the world, and I think a lot of those things can be really interesting and fun when they're imagined in a future, dystopia. How is the humor outside of bugs in the game?
I think I don't know. It's kind of getting to me a little bit, but like the attitude this game is trying to put out there is a little like. They're definitely teetering the edge of being annoying with it, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's the occasional ad that's like just some girl's tits out or something like that, and I'm like, oh, there's tits, like that. But I don't know. I feel like what I've seen. I don't know. I feel like some of the side quests is going to get a little bit better with the humor than what I've seen so far, but like. What I've seen is they're leaning more towards that attitude for me right now, and that attitude kind of gets annoying after a bit. So I'm hoping that changes as I get more into the game than where I'm at. But yeah, that's where I'm feeling about it right now.
Yeah, I haven't really paid too much attention because I'm just so desensitized to it or whatever at this point. Actually, even when I started, because most of what I've seen, yeah, like Matt was saying, like advertisements or the little tongue in cheek like jokes with them and all that. It's all just like mostly like sex based, which is like, all right, like cool that you can do it, but at the same time, it's like there's no nuance to really any of it. It's just there in your face all the time.
And even like with like, because sometimes when you ride like elevators or whatever, like a news segment or a segment of like a talk show will play in the elevator or something while you're like kind of ascending, and like even that stuff is just like it is leaning a little too much for me into that like that Borderlands like attitude, like everything's neon pink.
Like, cause none of it's like caught my attention either. Like whatever they talk about, like it doesn't stand out to me like radio ads in like GTA 5 or something.
No, nothing yet. Yeah, Chatterbox still the best radio station in the world.
So, because of this game's origins as a tabletop RPG, how much does this feel like a tabletop RPG brought to life in a video game?
I mean, there's a lot here. There's a lot to digest, but I don't know. I kind of want Mark to answer because I want to follow him on this because I'm seeing a lot of the Witcher 3's Wild Hunt mechanics just disguised in a different layout.
Okay. See, I never really played Witcher long enough to see those similarities, and I know the game does I think it has a good focus of having variety in gameplay on how you want to approach situations. Even though some of them might be, I think it's hard to stick to just one way to handle everything. That being said, this just feels like it just feels like a more open world shooter to me. I know you level up and you have skills and all that, but like it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the gameplay for me, and I play just very like, hey, if shit's going down, shit's going down. Like I'm not gonna be passive towards everything. I'm not gonna hack everything, because it just doesn't interest me. Depending on what I'm hacking and whatever I'm doing, it is cool to short circuit people every here and there. So that's cool. But I don't know. It just feels like a gritty shooter to me for the most part. Just has some RPG elements.
There are like there's a skill tree and all that stuff to level up different things.
It's pretty robust with that. Like you have like 4 or 5 perks like overall that you can like level up, but then within that they have like 2 to 3 skill trees within those that are more specific. So like what's one like body I think is one.
Yes.
And then like within that there might be 2 or 3 subsections that you can like enhance, which one might be for like your health and stamina and stuff like that, and the other one might be for how strong you are with like blunt weapons, and another one might be, I don't know, like I forget what they are exactly, but they have them sectioned off, and they all look like little microchips or like motherboards that you just enhance over time. It's like a weird like web. It's nothing like super organized.
Yeah, it's not like a tree in your traditional sense, but like I said, that this is very similar to the Witcher, where you had your core things, and then you could level up the core thing, but inside are specific sub levels for specific things. So in the Witcher, you weren't really leveling like your character; you're more leveling like your other your Witcher like powers. Kind of, I don't know. I kept calling them like forest powers because I never remember the name of them. It's like something with an A. I don't know. Anyway, huh?
Fusfroda.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, but like in that game, like you could transform like what the fire effect was, like or how it did damage and things like that. In this game, it kind of does that, but because you don't have like powers like that, it's just other things related into that subsection. So one of the I see. So I'm playing much differently than you, Mark. I like to play these games and talk my way out of everything if possible. So I've immediately been hammering away on, I think it's actually called Cool, just another case in point to my attitude with this game. But yeah, like I've been hammering in that and technical, and I'm like trying to figure out like how, like I'm still trying to figure out the best way to navigate hacking. So I'm like cautious on what subsections I'm doing there. But like anything I can do to like help with like talking or leveling up that system and that little grid based thing, I'm just like going for it right away. And of course, each thing has levels. So, for instance, with hacking in real time, they do it by like a RAM thing. So you get like 6 slots of RAM, and then if you hack, like 2 of them are depleted for a time, and then it will recover. But there is a power inside the technical tree, and there's 3 levels to it. And if I keep putting points into it, anything that the cost of any of those things goes down by 1. So I put in 2, and I plan the next time I level to put the 3rd one in. So anything is automatically like 3 less RAM chips for quick hacking. That's going to help me hack and navigate that area a lot quicker, or a lot more efficient, or my options are more open because I can do more things now because of that power. It's like things like that are very much in that tree. And I feel like this game is also like, yeah, you got the 5% buffs, that kind of stuff, but the main, like The Witcher, the main part of you dealing more damage is you earning more guns. But a lot of those guns could be locked behind a level cap, and that's why you need the levels, is to be able to like wield that weapon.
How cool are you?
I think I am currently an 8 out of 20.
Huh, yeah,
okay.
Like mine, I guess my guy's kind of like bipolar, but like, because like I think my biggest 3 traits that I go with is like, it's body, cool, and what was the other one? I think it was more like reflex.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
So If it's Maelstrom, I don't give a fuck. You're dead. But anybody else, if I like you, I will try to like talk with you and be reasonable and whatever. So yeah, I'm definitely pick and choosy with it.
Yeah, like that the early mission where you're going to like it's the one I don't think it was Maelstroms. I think it's another gang, but like you were going there to retrieve a robotic that Dex had paid for, but there was a change in who runs the gang, so like they weren't paying the robot, so you were kind of like going there to negotiate. That is Maelstrom. Okay, cool. Yeah. So like I went in there, and like my whole thing was like, you're just walking around, you see all the traps, you see all the people. It's like, all right, this is not a fight, especially for my character who's like level 3 in guns right now. I'm like, this is not a fight I want to pick. I don't care if I have some NPC help with me. This is not good. So like I went in, I was just very like, I was trying not to pay up, but I was also like, all right, well, I'm willing to pay up because I did the other thing to get the militant credit card.
I refused it.
Huh?
So that one I didn't. I mean, I did that mission, but I refused her offer to use her money or whatever.
Oh yeah, no. I was like, oh, I'll take your money. Make that easy. So like, but I was trying to negotiate around doing that because I had a feeling that if they used that card, it was gonna fuck up. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I was gonna get into that firefight and they figured it out. But it turned out that it was encrypted, I think, with the virus. But if you use your hacking, that hacking breaching mini game that they have, you can hack the card and wipe out the virus or whatever. So it was just pure money at that point. It's just the eddies.
Okay.
So like when I got to the point, they were like had a gun in my face. I was like, oh, this is going south real bad. So I gave him the card. But as my character gave him the card, he also told them that he took out the virus. So like I was in good terms with them and kind of let them know that the cops were kind of onto them and to be careful. So they kind of like, it almost turned back because I'm like at my computer. I'm like, shit, here we go. I'm very like passive when I'm like talking, but like I did the gamer lean because I thought shit was about to go down, and it didn't. It does in another way, but I think that's just scripted out of your control. But yeah, it's like I forgot the point I was making there.
I think it was just with how you were playing.
Oh, right, yeah. Sorry. So like, yeah, there were some skill checks with like cool, I think, in that speech stuff, and if I didn't have that, I don't know how that conversation would have went. So like, I just feel like there's plenty of options, and then there's one other thing I'm going to talk about with not necessarily the skill tree, but the other way you can get your actual like mutations.
I was just going to say with that situation that you handled way better than I did. That bug I mentioned earlier, where the guy morphed through the wall, it was that mission, but this all started because I was told to sit down, and then the guy Dum told Jackie to sit down, and Jackie didn't want to. He was like, "Why don't you make me?" or whatever. And you had the option to like, dude, like chill, just sit down.
And that's what I did. I was like, Jackie,
I let that bar go all the way down, and then a fight broke out. And Mike, I was like, you know what, Jackie, you're right. Let's fuck him up. And just shotgun everybody.
But yeah, no, and then like something else. Another part of the skill tree that's not really part of the skill tree are the modifications you can make to your body. I'm not talking customizing genitalia. I'm talking about actual robotics. So like one of the things, like it is.
Bro, just let's get the genitalia on the table here. Why do they have that in here? Just so that they can say you can customize genitalia? Like, does it have actual?
I looked this up. There is no purpose for it.
Cool.
There is no use in the game. There's no mini game. There's nothing.
Do you see your character naked a whole bunch where it would make sense?
I mean, like if you're changing clothes and you happen to take off clothes, you can see your character fully, buck naked. But there's, but if you're out in public with no clothes on, I think it defaults you to wearing underwear. So it's only in
which
like,
is
menu,
what. Yeah, but that's how the game. If you pick like no genitalia, that's what the game defaults to anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really weird
because there's been a big stink about like
I know that
that's not,
for some reason that became like such a huge bullet point And I know,
I had no idea why.
And I know, like, I kind of made that one earlier, but it was just because everybody was making a big bullet point about it. And
no, I've seen it. I've seen nothing but it. And, like, I remember, like, a long time ago, that was a headline that was like, you can customize your gender. And I was like, okay, like,
here,
cool.
like, all you can do, you can be cut, uncut, or vagina. And then you can be big uncut or little uncut, or big cut, little cut. That's it. And then you have, like, 5 different pubic hair designs to choose from. One of them's heart-shaped, so that's cool. But
I think another one's an arrow too.
Yeah, but like that is
Pointing
it.
down?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
guess. Okay.
I don't get that part of it. And was that like, did CD Projekt Red make a big deal about that, or was that just something they said and then the media blew that up?
It probably was a media headline because it's an easy headline. But I mean, I guess like in one way, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I think that there's like such a taboo on nudity.
I think they were trying to be inclusive in some way, and then I think everyone else just took and ran with it as it being something else, and it's just like a bigger deal than probably what it is.
I like, we need something to move the medium forward so that there's, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh, and you can
the
choose
last
to...
on-screen penis that has happened was Harvey Keitel like 45 years ago, but like, you know what I mean? Like, there's something has to do it, and that's fine if this is going to be it. It's just like, I didn't know if it was just like for shock value for what the thing was. Anyway, tell me about your metal hands. I'm sorry to
No, it's fine. No, I think that's another part of the customization and the leveling up, right? So like, I'm not going to invest a lot of points into like gunplay. I don't want to play like that. I mean, I want to be able to shoot when I can, and I know like I can get a high damage weapon, and I'll be fine. But like, I shot that submachine gun for the first time, and coming off of like Warzone, which I played a lot of nights. And I have all the attachments on that gun to not make it move at all. My kilo does not move when I shoot it. In this game, it is very much the opposite. That submachine gun was all over the place. The iron sights were terrible on it. So, like, now I think once I get some money, like, I think I want to invest some money into like a hand augmentation that lets me probably stabilize. I'm assuming, I don't know if it's for sure, but I'm just assuming this game has it, where it lets me stabilize the gun a lot more and raise that recoil percentage, I guess recoil stabilization percentage up. So that way I'm not like all over the place when I fire a weapon in this game.
I think that's just in your skill trees.
I think it's in your skill trees, but I think if you don't want to invest there, I think you can complement using augmentation. So like that, I think that's what I want to do, and I think you're going to be able to pull it off in this game because you can augment almost anything but your genitalia, I think. So you like, I feel like anything that I don't invest in, I can kind of make it work with some augmentations if I invest the money into it that way. And I think that's a really cool concept in a game that, it's going to be like, right now I'm earning levels pretty quickly, but like, once you start getting up there in levels, just like Demon Souls, like the amount of experience is you're not going to get levels as quickly. And I think this is a good way to kind of counter that issue, especially in a moment-to-moment thing, because you can de-equip them once you get them. I don't think you can do it on the fly. I think you have to go to like actually one of the like repair stations or whatever. But still, like, you could do that. It's possible.
And depending on the gun, you can add modifications to those too.
Yeah, and that's why I brought up the iron sights, because you can mod weapons in this game and put. I think optics is one of them. I'm sure there's other things.
There's like mod chips you can do that would like.
Right. Yeah, there's that too.
Increase crit or stuff like that.
Yeah, and then like and not every give has them, and it's also that plays just like how The Witcher was. Like, some swords had the spots for you to not augment, but like give them like a fire ability or something like that. But like other ones did, and some of them had 2. I think even the best ones had like 3 of those little slots. So like, there's all kinds of similarity. Like, I was actually shocked with the amount of similarities in, like, it looks different than how The Witcher's, like, UI looks, but it is essentially the same system.
Do you think, this is my final question about this, but do you think that with the bugs and everything where it kind of disrupts your ability to completely lose yourself in it at times, do you think that they should have Halo Infinited?
I mean, I feel like with any game like this, I'm always expecting some type of flaw to be within the first week or month of this game. You know, because like it's because just I feel like just from a developer standpoint, it's hard to anticipate, no matter how much testing you do or whatever. You never know. Like everybody plays so differently, obviously. Like right, like it's you never know what you're going to find, and so I guess there's kind of a weird beauty to the imperfections sometimes, especially if it's not too game breaking and deleting your saves or hard locking you or like ruining or like bricking your system or something. As long as it's not anything like that, it's fine as long as it gets addressed and handled. I wouldn't want it to linger.
I don't think it needed to be delayed because, like I said, we're running into bugs, and like Mark said, like it's an open world game, giant open world. As long as they're not like quest breaking, I know you have the one, but like as long as it's not quest breaking, it's like I can be able to float an object. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 had plenty of floating objects in the air at times, but it didn't like. Yeah, I saw it, I laughed, I was like, oh, that's a little, that's not real life, but it didn't take me out of the experience enough for me to be like, oh man, this is now an 8 out of 10 game because of that floating book. But I think CD Projekt Red, what they did wrong was ever saying that this should have came to current gen. Well, like PS4 and Xbox One, old current gen. So like, and I think that's where all the development. And that's why all the delays happen, and I think they got sidetracked trying to make it work on those consoles. And I don't know if Digital Foundry. I know they were going to do an Xbox One, and it might be up by the time this goes up. But like they have the PS4 one for PS4 and PS4 Pro, and I'm gonna throw this out there. If you are playing on a base Xbox One or a base PS4, I would not buy this game. Like at least not yet, because it's a fun game, but it's not like this revolutionary RPG that everyone expected this to be. It's a very good one from what I played. But like, it's open world, it has all the icons. It's probably going to do a little bit better storytelling than what other RPGs do. Like I'm already more invested in a little bit of time that I play with this game than I am with Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs is like hacking open world there. So, like, I don't know. I would wait if I'm on those consoles. If you got a PC, go for it. It runs a little bit better on PS4 Pro. I can't speak for One X because that video wasn't up for Digital Foundry, but it is not a good time on those base models right now.
Is this basically a Bethesda game in concept?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Is that a fair comparison? Like, if you like Skyrim, Fallout, but you want to do a sci-fi one, is this the one for you? Or
yeah,
is kind of comparable.
No, I agree with that. I know kind of those man, this hangover is killing me. I cannot think. Who's the Bethesda? I know Bethesda kind of has that stink kind of going on right now, but no, at its core, I think that's a fair comparison. Like, I think this is Deus Ex meets The Witcher. I think that's like the best comparison you can make right now. And the gunplay in this is better than Deus Ex, but so far I think Deus Ex does some of the Cyberpunk stuff and the augmentation stuff a little bit better at the moment. So like, I don't know, like this isn't the perfect game, but I think if Deus Ex meets The Witcher, or like this is a Cyberpunk Bethesda game, if any of those two things tickle your fancy, then by all means, I think this is a game for you.
The only thing I was going to add was I haven't played many Bethesda games, but I definitely feel those vibes here. In some ways, I would say Bethesda handles some minor details a little better, especially when it comes to customization of your character. I know you have all these options like up front, and like you can change your hair. Like you have so many eyes to choose from. There's so many cool looking ones too that aren't even like human.
Yeah, like human eyes. Yeah,
you can have like heart shaped pupils or like just X's or swirls. Like I don't know, it's really cool. You can have different like cyberware, like scars on your face and like on your body and stuff. Like that's really cool. What I don't like is that you're stuck with that. there are no shops in the game to change your appearance. You can't change your hair. You can't do anything with that. It's all just right there. And it seemed a little weird for me for a game like this, that where like it seems that it tries to really embrace that freedom of expression. But and I get it. Like, not every game is gonna do that. Some games you're just stuck with it right away. And I mean, I know
really can't change your hair.
You can't change your hair.
That's wild.
You like now in Witcher, right? You're not really making a character. You are playing as somebody.
Yeah, you're Geralt. That's not a problem. Yeah.
But I looked that up, and via DLC, you could change his hair and facial hair. Limited, but you still have those options. And I was trying to see like if other games similar or whatever. It's like Skyrim, you can change how you look. You can even change your entire face, I think, as long as you're not a vampire. I mean, and like, you know, some of it might cost money. Fine. Animal Crossing, right? It used to cost money to change your hair, now you just go into a mirror. Poof. Code Vein. You can change everything just going into a mirror. Poof. And just like, so hopefully I could see them adding as like, it just felt like an oversight to me. Just like little things like that. I've just noticed a lot more and more as I'm playing. And also just for anybody who cares, I'm not far into the game either. I'm probably like 12, 13 hours clocked in, with 2 of that which is making a character. But it is starting to open up for me, and only thing I did was I ran around to all the different clothing stores to see if there was any difference in clothing when you purchase them, like different styles or whatever. And like more or less there is some difference, but they all kind of just sell the same stuff, and it is random. I don't know when it changes. I don't know. Like, I know if you reload your save, it will change right there. So I guess you could keep doing that if you want it done quicker. But a lot of it, it's hard to find like a decent outfit. And if they were to upgrade this part, like change it or patch it somehow, let yourself preview clothes before buying them, because it's just an icon, right? Like, you can kind of see it, but I still can't see all the details in the shirt. Like, I have to buy the shirt, put it on, then I see all the crappy details that are actually on it, or what material it's actually made out of. Then I'm like, oh, this was awful. I didn't want it. So I either sell it or I reload my save, and it's like, I should never bought any of that crap to begin with. Why did I even buy it? It's like,
I wouldn't sell it. You're probably selling it back for less. I learned that lesson from The Witcher.
No, I mean, you are. So I would just reload the save. But I traveled like almost all around that city to all these different locations. And
you really can't preview in this game.
you can't preview, and then when you do preview, when you do try on clothes, I hate that I have to hit Q and E to rotate my character when it just should be a mouse click drag. That's just me.
Yeah, I noticed that too in the character creator. That was a little annoying.
So like, it's just little things like that where it's like, okay.
Also, like, I noticed like I can't. But... I mean, maybe it's just because of all an engine, but like the dialogue choices and stuff, like you can't just click on that either. You have to like. Yeah, I've been mouse like scrolling and then hitting, I think it's F on my keyboard.
And maybe they're just like trying really to translate. Weird. Maybe they had a controller in mind at first when designing all this, and then they tried to translate that to a keyboard and mouse. But I don't know. Just some of it, having 2 crouch buttons is weird too. Like, you have your C key, which is to hug behind a wall, so you can do cover shooting. But then you have your control that is just your typical teabag crouching, where it only works if you have it pressed in.
Oh, I think that's just key mapping, though. Like, you can change that to however. I don't think that's.
And I've been too lazy to do it.
Yeah, I immediately mapped it to what I use for like Warzone as best as I could.
Yeah, I think there's a good thing here overall, though. Despite that, I think stuff can be added later and to fix and maybe get some quality of life improvements. But
you can't change your hair.
No, and
guess not.
And honestly, I don't like a lot of the hair anyway. But
yeah, that's a bummer.
Wear different hats.
Overall, though, you think like should people who have been waiting for this but maybe started seeing reports of bugs and things like that wait, or do you think it's worth jumping in now? If you have a PC, of course. I think it sounds like console versions are give it some time, but do you think it's worth jumping in?
Yeah.
Overall, I would say yes, but obviously it's going to be depending on what you're looking for out of the game too, and what exactly you're wanting to try to do with it. But if you're just trying to just experience it just for what it is, yeah, sure, why not?
Should I play this game?
Well, I mean, think of what I just said, right? You like Deus Ex meets The Witcher, or Cyberpunk Bethesda game. Like, if one of those two things tickle your fancy,
I think
Cyberpunk.
I think you could like it. I just don't know how much time it would take for you to get to that point.
I think the attitude thing's gonna bother you a bit, honestly, because it's bothered me.
Because like I could see it being like a cool like barefoot cyberpunk girl with like neuromancy powers or whatever, like hacking people or whatever, listening to kudos to the radio, by the way.
Yeah, you sent me that one metal station that was pretty rad.
The music is pretty good. And yeah, was it 96.1 the ritual? It's just all like grindcore, like death metal, whatever. And it's like
it should have been 96.6, but I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I like how I do like how the radio stations, like, they don't say like heavy metal 96.9 or whatever. It's like you can tell what it is just off like the little graphic, but it can keep like a regular like station name. I thought that was a little attention to detail there that I liked a lot. I don't know.
No, yeah,
the weird stuff like that I like noticed. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
We will continue to check in with Cyberpunk 2077 in the coming weeks. I'm curious to see how you guys continue through that game, that world, how it turns out. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got hot news on a new wearable, along with an update from last week, right after this. Last week on the Nintendo Switch, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light released for the first time in North America, officially localized in English by Nintendo. And I finally got a chance to play it. Once I finished Hyrule Warriors, because I was kind of, when I could, I finished the painting. And once I finished painting down here, Hyrule was like the first thing on the list just to get through, because I knew I was close to the end. And then I jumped into Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. And I played Fire Emblem, the original Famicom release, but never really got far because I couldn't read Japanese and didn't know what the heck was on the screen or what I was doing. I just knew I was pushing a button and moving around.
Checks out.
But so now being able to play it, read it, and understand it, I get a bit more of what's happening in the game. And it's crazy playing this game in 2020 after 15 years of, and really just 10 years of solid like indie games on the rise. But this feels like a really good indie game from 2020. You know what I mean? Like it does not feel like a Famicom game from 1990. And what's crazy about that is that it's old. It's 30 years old. You know what I mean? But it's not. It still feels brand new in a way. Like there's a lot of ideas in it that I think were really fresh and feel like they're true to the series. Like I think it ties to Fire Emblem as a whole really well, but I think also like the gameplay itself. So it's you have your units on the screen and you have enemy units on the screen. You click a unit, you can read details about it, a lot of details about it. Like every character on the screen has a name. Like every character, there's like 30 different character types in this. Like there's way more than I feel like are in the newer Fire Emblem games. Like there's so many, and I'm impressed that they could fit all that on a Famicom cart 30 years ago, let alone make it work with all the different characters. There's just a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of detail packed into it.
Have you heard of a game called River City Ransom?
You know, I never played that like enough. Like I've only ever like jumped into that to like dabble with it, but I think that's probably
No, it's literally just the same sprite model. But I was just saying all the different names. It got me thinking about that.
It's, yeah, I mean, but like that stuff's like crazy that they could do that back then because we're so used to games being of a certain capacity or whatever. But this does it. It feels like a really, you know, well-made game. And I know that's weird, but like I think when I go back to like the original Metroid, I'm always like, oh right, yeah, they had a lot of good ideas and you could see something here, but like they really got it right with Super Metroid. And same thing, like Super Mario Brothers is a classic, but you know, Super Mario World, they took that and they you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just so many things where you can see the evolution, but here it's like, no, this really works. Like this really works. And I think that like it's obtuse. It's not something that I can play for a long period of time. Like I got through the first battle and it took me 30 minutes or so, and it felt like a really heavy 30 minutes where I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a break from this. You know what I mean? I went and played Street Fighter or something. But like I think that, you know, it's $6 or $7. I forget what it is on this like special limited release thing they're doing with it. But I think that the game was like ahead of its time. I think that if you like Fire Emblem, it's really neat to go back to and see as, you know, where the series got started. But I also think it's really dense. So, you know, there's a lot of approachability that's been added to the series since especially Fire Emblem Awakening. But like, cause this is super hardcore, but it's fun. And there is a story, like you're working your way through towns and like you meet people, you can move your character to a house and then click visit. And then you get like a little tiny piece of dialogue from a random person inside. There's an item system, there's equipment, it's a full-fledged like what you expect from Fire Emblem, but Famicom. I think the animations are super cool too. Like there's like when you go into battle, like the same, if you know the Fire Emblem animations, like it's still there. It's just 8-bit and crazy, but like you see him charge across the screen and like attack somebody on that like black background. It's wild.
I wonder how much they took from Famicom Wars, because that I think was like 2 years prior.
Yeah.
So which is for other people, that's basically turned into Advance Wars, if you remember that, which is kind of similar
the
gameplay
whole
style.
Wars series was always like, it was Famicom Wars, there was a Game Boy Wars. I think they've done like Wars on every single one,
right.
And then Advance Wars was the first one we actually got in America. But
so,
yeah, I think a lot of that stuff was similar.
But they were just like, they just really like went with it and added so much more to it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. I think if you're like intrigued or, you know, you want to study some history, I think it's a good peak.
Did you feel similar when Mother got the same treatment? Or sorry, Earthbound Zero?
Yeah. No, Earthbound Zero felt to me like Metroid did. I think also because Mother 2 is very much
Pinnacle.
Like the Metroid to Super Metroid is super close description of Mother to Mother 2.
Okay.
Like it's,
yeah. I mean, obviously.
yeah. There's so many things that are like basically the same, and that the sequel does way better. But it is neat, like going back to the original and seeing like how much is actually there and stuff.
It's
like
cool
that.
that Nintendo's doing this though. Like,
yeah, I hope that more things get, you know, and maybe not even like, there's not a ton of games that we didn't get in America that they got in Japan outside of like Mahjong games that were launch games for Famicom. You know what I mean? But like generally, like a lot of stuff that came out both places. But even if they went back to old releases like this, just to like put them out with like a new spin. Although I guess a lot of that would just hit the Switch online stuff or whatever. But
region free.
It's cool. Bring Game Boy games out, you know? There's that Final Fantasy Legend collection, the Saga collection, is out this week. And I'm thinking about grabbing it on Switch, because that's got all the like the old Saga Game Boy games, and it's all updated with like double speed options and all that.
That's how the Mana collection was handled.
Yeah. Bandai Namco announced a new series of fitness bands to integrate with the Digimon brand. The Digimon Vital Bracelet will track your steps and your heart rate as you raise digital monsters through walking, running, or other physical activity. Set to release in Japan on March 13th, 2021 in white or black for 6380 yen and a special yellow version for 7260 yen. Pre-orders open this week, December 18th. The Vital Bracelet, so there's a couple things happening at once. There's kind of like 3 different functionalities in here. The Pulse Link system focuses on your physical activity, heart rate, and step count specifically to impact the development and evolution of your Digimon. So I guess what you're doing dictates how it will evolve. Touch Link is an auto battle system, so you can battle your friends or someone nearby with that. And the app Log Link will sync features via a designated smartphone app. And then that app will include records of which Digimon you've raised, pictures of them, missions you've gone on, and rankings where you sit across the world. All 3 models will include an Impulse City DIM card, which allows people to raise a new Digimon, Pulsemon. And then you can buy other DIM cards down the line or at some point to scan in different Digimon options. Is this everything you've been dreaming of, Mark?
It's like I wasn't expecting it, but at the same time, it's something that I thought would be neat. Like owning like an Apple Watch, I've always wanted some type of dumb little like Digimon, Tamagotchi, like, and they exist, but not to like that same quality that Bandai does. So I always thought that would be cool, just have like just a little Digimon just on my watch, just to take care of, just like the other virtual pets that have been out for like the past 20 years or whatever. But I like this. I like how it looks. It doesn't look. It kind of looks like a Fitbit because it's like more like a vertical screen or like rectangular. I would like to know if the watch bands are interchangeable because that special yellow one is like a neon yellow, and I don't care too much for the neon yellow. I'd rather just have a black band, but I do want the premium stuff that it comes with.
Yeah, it comes with extra functionality on the inside, or extra. It's a like different character, right? Like
all of them come with Pulsemon, but the yellow one you also get another Digimon with that one, Vmon or whatever. If anybody is listening and knows Digimon, but
I'm learning Digimon.
But pre-orders for any of them, you get another one, which is it's basically, I mean, if you know Agumon, he's kind of like the icon of the whole series. He's kind of like whatever, but it's literally named Black Agumon, and it's more of a nod to like season 2 of the series or whatever. But like, it's pretty much just like the, like Link and Dark Link, you have Agumon and Black Agumon. So it's just like all those versions just cooler looking. And so there's that. And then there's DIM cards. There's other ones that they're selling come in packs of 2. They haven't shown like an official like US release for these, but you can change the language in these to English.
Yeah, I'm wondering what it's going to look like to import these, if that's...
And if we're, like, trying to translate the yen to dollars, it looks like it would be about $60 for a band and $20 for a pair of DIM cards, more or less, is what I'm... Okay. I mean, that's what I'm gauging from it. I don't...
Yeah, the like 63.80 is like $61, and 7260 yen is like $70, $69, something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's cool. For me, I like see it and I'm like, all right, let's get in on the ground floor or something, Digimon, so I can like get it, right? But then I'm like, do I want to wear that and an Apple Watch?
Right. And like, I guess I don't know if they really factor that in with this. It's like, what if people own a watch already? Like, I guess they just want you to wear just the one. I mean, for me, like,
wear it on the other wrist, maybe. I don't like.
I remember, like, I got my Apple Watch specifically for running for the most part.
Yeah.
So this seems like it's right up my alley. I mean, I feel bad for my Apple Watch now, but I mean,
Would you wear both?
I don't know if I'd wear both. I think if I'm just going to go running, I'll put on the Digimon one, because when I was playing Pokemon Go, that was a good incentive to be running, get the steps, hatch the eggs, whatever. Now I can do more than freaking hatch eggs. I don't have to hatch an egg. I can just. There's actually I'm getting better, kind of, and they're getting way better because of that.
Yeah. There's there was one I got for. There was an actual Tamagotchi Apple Watch app that I got when I first got the very first watch 5 years ago, but I don't think that app exists anymore.
And even for those who either can't or won't, if exercising isn't in their life for any reason, I still think this could be beneficial for them too, because if it's tracking your steps somehow, that means there might be some sort of what's it called, a pedometer. Yeah. I think with that you could just shake it.
Yeah. I also the one thing that I do wish there were a version of this where they did just make an Apple Watch app, since I already have it. You know what I mean? I'd be more inclined to do that. Right. I am still tangentially curious about this, only because I think it would be cool. I think it's just a cool thing.
I like the idea of little chips, DIM cards you just put into there to add new Digimon steps. Keep having to buy a new watch band, because with these V Pets, you have to keep buying a new keychain that had new stuff on it. And so, I don't think they were as expensive as a watch either, but
yeah.
There's just a lot of keychains.
I'm curious to see how this thing all shakes out. Speaking of announcements, we saw kind of an announcement last week. I guess it got out ahead of time, but Atlas officially confirmed this week that Persona 5 Strikers will release for PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and PC via Steam on February 23rd, 2021 in the West. Additionally, there are multiple editions of the game releasing physically, the Steelbook version exclusive to Best Buy, and if you buy it at GameStop, you can get a Joker pin. You guys into Persona 5 Strikers? Coming off that Muso train, Mark?
I still want to play the first one before I jump into that.
Yeah,
I want to play.
I haven't played a Persona game, so I feel like I should play one of those first before hopping into the Muso one.
Yeah, because it's fun. It seems different enough from whatever, but yeah. There's a commercial this week. I don't know where this aired or whatever, but a PlayStation 5 ad rolled out confirming. It just showed off kind of games that are out now and games that are coming, just to remind people that a PlayStation 5 is out there, I suppose. Footage of Project Athia confirms the game will be exclusive to PlayStation 5 for at least 24 months, with Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo listed as exclusive for a 12-month minimum. Yeah, that I think we kind of knew those things, but there's some weirdo stuff when Final Fantasy 16 was shown off for the first time. It was is this also PC? What are you doing?
It was the footer that had all that stuff. Because Demon Souls was coming to PC too initially, right?
Right. Yeah, I remember that. So this is confirmation here that those things are at least locked to PS5 for a little while. Has there been a game like that that's been tied to a single platform and later came to another that you came to much later and appreciated not where it originally started? Outside of they put Sonic the Hedgehog in a collection on the GameCube, but when Mass Effect came to PS3 eventually or something like that, is that, I don't know if that's a good example or not.
Yeah, Mass Effect 1 runs like garbage on whatever platform besides PC.
Maybe Nier. Well, I guess we all played Nier on PS4, but Nier eventually came to Xbox. Did anyone go back there? That's the stuff where I don't.
I don't know about I don't know.
Did Digital Foundry ever do a video on that Tomb Raider game that came to PS4 a year later? Did it get a 100p bump?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
Yeah, like
That's like the only example I can think of that.
Like I mean, obviously I see what they're trying to do when it comes to time, like exclusives. Like they want you to play it on their system or whatever, but it just deters me more. Like, I'll wait, whatever, we'll play this game.
Yeah, like, you know, it's going to depend on the game. If it's like something I need to play right now, like I'm still like I watched
know what? Death Stranding.
Oh, you played on
so
PC.
much better on PC. Are you kidding me? So much better.
Yeah.
It runs like butter.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mentioned last week that documentary series Archipel, and they had a recent one with Yoshi P, the director of Final Fantasy XIV, and it was another reminder this week that I really want to play that game eventually. Particularly that I did not realize the story that they had going on with Shadowbringers. I didn't realize like the hook to that one, but go watch that Archipel on YouTube if you haven't yet. But the seeing that, I'm like, right, he's also doing Final Fantasy 16, and I'm tangentially excited for that. And like, then I'm thinking like, I mean, I'm gonna have a PS5 by the time that game comes out anyway, because that game comes out in like 5 years, I'm sure. But yeah, like I think it comes down to the game, whether or not I care if I'm gonna grab it or wait or whatever. Do you think that Final Fantasy VII will release on Xbox in March, or do you think that that's still a ways away?
I think that's still a ways away. I feel like even if they did officially say it's coming, I feel like at some point like a Schreier or someone would have figured out that it's coming in March. Or like the rumor would have been happening at least by now. So I don't think so.
Yeah, like my expectation of seeing that would be like if PlayStation was getting part 2 would be the time Xbox would get part 1 or something.
Yeah.
Whenever that
Speaking of games moving from one platform to another, El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron, is coming to PC at some point. El Shaddai was originally released on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 in 2011 and is coming to Steam. It's currently in development to be released on Steam. It's based on an ancient Hebrew apocalyptic text and mixes various gameplay styles, sometimes 2D side-scrolling action with 3D exploration mixed in. One of the little teases from, I think, the game's director is that the new PC release will allow players to switch between English and Japanese voiceovers and text, something you couldn't do before. It was kind of locked to whichever region you were in. Do you guys have any... do you remember this game? Any affinity for it?
Yeah. I can't remember if 360 had a demo or I just borrowed the game when I was working at GameStop or whatever. But I liked what I was playing. It, from what I remember anyway. It was a cool little, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it was definitely like an action game, but like it kind of had platforming moments. I think it had some like shooting ranged attack moments in there too. It was because it's all like, you know, like light based or whatever. The art style was really cool. That was my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, that's what stood out to me. And like, I almost bought it earlier this year because I had never heard it, but I was slowly listening through old 8-4 Play podcasts at some point this year. And he's now at PlayStation, but Shane Bettenhausen was on the podcast and he was working for the publisher who was putting this game out. And the way he talked about it, like, with such affinity. And then I ended up watching him. He did a video with Giant Bomb when it came out where he, you know, went there and played it with them and talked about the game and stuff. And I just got mildly infatuated with it to the point where I was on eBay looking up copies of it to order for PS3 and then just forgot about it and moved on. But I'm, you know, tangentially curious about this one. I still might play it on PS3 just because I still have that thing plugged in and hooked up and I want to do something with it. But are there any other weirdo, random, not weird in that way, but like just games that like, I feel like there's so many things that like get talked about and celebrated, and certain publishers are very active in keeping their stuff from the PS3, Xbox 360 generation alive this time around. Do you think there's anything that's been missing? Any other El Shaddais out there that you're like, man, I wish they just put this out?
I wish a lot of the old wrestling games made their way to PC.
The like proper WWE.
Yeah,
like,
and I know a lot of them were
2K8.
like Like SmackDown, like all the SmackDown games, and like some kind of weird, like, because a lot of them are console exclusive too, because like different games came out on different systems, and they never crossed systems, and they weren't even like the same engine either. They were completely different games across all the. I'd love to see like a little PC port with some of those packages in there, but that will never happen.
Gotcha Force.
The one that got away, man.
That one needs to be revived on Switch or something. You know, like,
yeah,
that would be so cool.
Is that Capcom?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man. Yoshiro Kimura announced this week what he believes to potentially be his final game. The creator behind the hit RPG Moon, among others, has announced that Onion Games will be making a sandbox RPG, and an excerpt from the post reads, "This world is full of irrational events. Can children ever hope to overcome this irrationality which adults have left unresolved? In bringing back the romantic fairy tale nature of RPGs, I want to discover my own answer to this question. But I still hear voices of doubt. RPGs are tough work. We need to keep our creative ambitions in check, but without striving for ideals, our output won't inspire. I'm sure I'll suffer through comparing it with my past works, but I'm going to push on. Despite all this, I will see it through." Moon just came out on Switch earlier this year and it had a lot of buzz for a little while. Mark, you were getting into the Onion stuff a little while. You played what was the hotel one called?
Oh, I forget.
$1 Million Hotel.
It was something. But yeah, like I bought all the games because they're doing a sale in celebration of Moon coming out. I like them. What was the one? I think it's called like Dungeon Quest or whatever. That one is like so meta, like so like breaking the fourth wall kind of thing. But the way that game plays is really cool too, because it's like you have to get from point A to point B in each floor of the dungeon without hitting the same tile twice. And then wherever you run into, you just kind of fight it along the way. It's just like auto battles for you or whatever.
Yeah.
There's some cool RPG elements in there, and obviously it has some Dragon Quest inspirations. But Moon, I didn't get too far in because I'm trying to learn that game, and because it's a port, when you mess up and start over, you really start over.
Yeah.
So
I heard, yeah. That was kind of what maybe put the brakes on jumping into that one.
And that's another game where time is a very important factor. So,
yep.
Having fun there.
Yeah. Speaking of having fun, Mark, you have joined the world in having fun this week as one Master Chief drops in. Announced, I guess, at the Game Awards. We'll talk more about the Game Awards in a few minutes, but in anticipation of the potential that Master Chief was joining Fortnite, you jumped in this week with Kratos and entered the world of Fortnite. When's the last time you played Fortnite prior to this week?
Last time I played Fortnite was probably like a year or two ago, I think. And I was playing on Switch. And like,
yeah, I remember trying it first when it came to Switch. I was like, I'll try. Okay, maybe I should try this thing. And I played a little bit there, and I think I played a little bit on Xbox because it was cross-play or whatever.
Maybe it was last year.
And then
I don't know. Time just escapes me with that game. Yeah.
How is it now?
Well, now I'm playing on the PC. I do prefer it that way. It's mouse and keyboard feels fine. I don't build. Building is not my forte. I am not into like going into like some type of other world in my mind that just unlocks the ability to build a fort within like 2 milliseconds. I just can't do that. I can't do that type of battle.
It's called having a spaz attack on your mouse and while holding in a button.
Like, I'm just not there yet. Like, I'm slowly getting used to like switching to build mode and whatever, but more often than not, I'm just in solos and I am creeping my way to the top 10, sometimes top 5, and I'll just be a vulture. I'll cheese it. I'll let everybody duke it out, and I'll swoop in when the time, like, I fight dirty, I guess, with that. But 2 times I actually won legitimately, like, as any other person. I just got lucky with shooting them. Or another time I won because there's NPCs in the game now that'll just randomly drop in and fight you if they detect you. And I think they picked off the other person while I was hiding. So I just won by hiding behind a rock. But
not quite a bathtub, but close.
Yeah. But I don't know, like I don't know what came over me. I just everything going around it and the whole Kratos thing just like it found its way to my brain and got me eventually. And I was looking up like all the different skins that I was missing out on. I was like, are any of these really cool? Do I really want any of these? There's like 1 or 2, but then like I fell for the battle pass. I did that. I got the Mandalorian. So I'm doing these quests to get the different pieces of Beskar armor, so you're fully equipped by the end of the battle pass. Actually, further than that, I'm trying out for a month. I'm trying out their little like subscription service or whatever, where like it is the battle pass, but you get a little more bang for your buck or whatever.
So how does that work? What does that look like for what's the price first, and what do you get with a subscription?
You will always get like I think a certain amount of V-Bucks, and you get an exclusive skin with the subscription, like guaranteed. And then whatever you get with the battle pass, there's that. So that doesn't really change. But whenever you do cancel any of this, you still get to keep everything that you've earned and whatever. Like doing the quests in the game is interesting. I find myself doing that more than playing the game itself.
Are they quests like how you'd expect in any MMO? Like
a little bit.
Kill 3 of these things, build a thing of a certain size or something like that?
I mean, a lot of it you just get just by playing a game. Like you can, use a certain weapon, kill certain people with a weapon, reach a certain destination, then some of it is you will find NPCs in some locations, and they will have a little menu of like, depending on who they are and what area you're in, what do you want to do? Do you want to go fishing? Do you want to bounty hunt somebody? Do you want to craft something? Like, cause like the currency are just like gold bars, but I haven't really spent any of that. I've just been accumulating a lot of it. And mostly I've been doing just like the bounty stuff, because that was a quest where it's like get 5 bounties, you'll get like this amount of experience, and then like tier 2 happens. It's like, oh, you did 5 bounties, no, do 10 bounties or do 5 more bounties. And sometimes I feel like sometimes an NPC pops up to hunt, but maybe I'm wrong, because every other time it's been a specific player, and even sometimes I've been the one that people are hunting after, and like. You're on like a 5-minute timer, and as the timer goes down, your yellow dot radius on the mini map starts to dwindle, so people can know where you're at exactly. But I've managed to survive most of it because no one was around, or I was hiding or something. But
that sounds like a neat evolution on the battle royale stuff.
Yeah, like this,
because the battle royale is still happening while they're hunting you. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
All these things, yeah, like it's still like a battle royale game, but it doesn't really. Like, it feels like one, but at the same time, it's like you're not really thinking about it when you're playing. At least when I'm playing, I'm just like, yeah, whoever's around me, obviously, I'm going to shoot them or hide from them or whatever.
Do you think they'll slowly start to just transition into having just a death match?
Well, see, that isn't a separate mode, basically.
Oh, they've launched. We talked last week. I don't think we said it on air, but that the Ubisoft one put out the deathmatch mode.
Oh, okay. Like aside from that, you also have like basically like a big team battle, where like the whole map has like a line divided, and you land on your side, and everyone fights. Like a storm still happens, and like you still fight in the center, but it's like first team to get so many kills ends up winning. So there's that. There's a creative mode, and then. Within a creative mode, there's users who have made their own content for people to play in that are all different types of games that aren't just Battle Royale. So I think it's pretty cool that Fortnite has this ability to be so flexible and could probably even change genres at any point, probably, and it would make sense. Like, it just... Not many have the ability, I think, to do that so seamlessly without, like, dividing a fan base or something, or coming off as...
Well, they already did that once, so...
Yeah, like, so I did get, like, the Save the World stuff, because I wanted to try the single-player stuff. I had to pay extra for that. That was $15. And I played, like, the tutorial stuff or whatever, and it was like... I do like this. I think it would be really cool co-op to do, because it's basically like
It doesn't have co-op at all. It is just single player.
I think it does. I'm not sure.
Co-op. I think it has co-op.
I think it does have co-op, but like
Okay.
I think that would be cool to play with other people, because it's kind of like pseudo tower defense, but
It's like that plus horde mode, right?
yeah. So like if you ever played like Orcs Must Die or
Yeah.
I forget the other game, but I guess Orcs Must Die is a pretty good comparison. You know, yeah, you're just, you know, fighting off zombies, building stuff. The only thing I didn't like is that you had to craft your weapons. And now I'm like, all right, I can see the appeal now for the Battle Royale, because you do not have to craft weapons. I'm like, cool, I'm totally about this. And yes, I got that Kratos skin as well, and I put money into this probably more than I should have, but... I don't know. Just a weird moment happened with me with it. It was a weird phase. I mean, I'm still kind of like fine with it. Like,
I'm telling you, dude.
like
The idea that Samus might be added to it had me hovering over the download
I
button.
think outside of the game speaks louder than the game itself, for the most part.
Right. I think that's the tough part.
And I think a
is,
lot
like,
of popular games suffer from that. It's always the fan base, you know, that kind of gives it,
Yeah.
it builds this narrative and image around it and what it really is. But I think in this case, I think the fans are probably on point. But but like I did look into like the lore or whatever it is. Yeah, there isn't much, but
How can there be? You got Kratos fighting Master Chief now.
Well, isn't the idea that like there's a bounty thing happening, so it's all these bounty hunters coming together?
Right. Hence, Mandalorian, whatever.
Mandalorian, Kratos, Master Chief, the Walking Dead folks showing up.
Yeah, the Walking Dead thing's a little weird, but at the same time, it's not weird. It's just, I don't know. I guess nothing should be surprising at this point. Because
Just the greatest hunters in the
Right.
world. Or
yeah, like, and obviously all this feels like it's just a way to make the marketing make sense with it, right? Like, oh, we're going to incorporate these characters, but we have to make this make sense. So, oh, this happened in this world, so that's why this happens. It's like, oh, okay. It's just a big old toy box at this point, you know? Like, it's just, like, it's a less sophisticated Smash Brothers.
It seems like they're doing the work to make Mugen into
Just
like an actual
kind of something like that, except everybody plays the same.
legal
I guess,
Mugen
right?
is what they're going for, right?
It's like you're all like different characters, but everybody plays the same. I do like that at least. I don't, it's not a hero shooter, so I don't have to worry about being a specific character for specific perks or abilities. Like, that's cool if people like that. That's just not my thing. I like more like Halo or Unreal Tournament or I guess Valorant, as I've learned as of late, that like, or like Counter-Strike, where like it's the weapons that you pick up that matter more in your skill versus what the character specifically has. So I'm always about that. That seems more fair to me. Instead of doing like a...
Is it weird? Is it weird playing as Kratos with a gun?
I mean, I mean, like at first, but at the same time, it's just like, just accept everything and you'll be fine. Like,
Yeah, I don't think it's any different than seeing Leatherface with a light machine gun run at you.
Yeah, like this whole thing, like, it's cool that the map is ever changing and ever growing, and the story kind of revolves around that with dimensions and whatever. And turns out that you're in a simulation that's stuck in a loop. That's apparently the story to this game right now. And that's why like the storm keeps happening. So like that's their in-game reason for why the game it is the way it is. But I like the fact that, you know, that events can happen like an MMO where everybody is not killing each other for this bit to witness this thing, or I don't know. I like that this game has that ability, and just playing the game itself can be addictive. Like, I can totally see why, and doing the quests definitely add to that. I mean, depending on the battle pass, I can see there's the incentive to keep playing, because you're rewarded for every little thing you do, and you see your level bar at the bottom, and just getting that so much experience, or if it's like a double XP week or something, or it's just like there's that addicting nature, just wanting. You're just always wanting. I don't know, but like shooting people's cool. It's fun.
Yeah.
Feels good.
I'm gonna see. We'll see what happens with Samus here. I might be dropping.
And
in
with Master
you,
Chief, I didn't do much. Not to jump ahead, but like, I just jumped in to like this weird lobby, and everybody does, their little Fortnite dances and whatever. I'm going old school with it, hitting that control key, constantly, just teabagging.
There it is.
And
there it is. That's all you need to do. Matt, how's the other epic free-to-play mass multiplayer game happening this season?
Season 2 started. You now have a new customizable thing where if you score a goal during the replay, you can pick a theme song, so that way you can always hear one of the tracks that you can unlock. Not all the tracks are available, and I think you have to unlock them as part of either the free tier or the battle pass.
Is it just you that hears it, or is it everybody?
Everyone. It's everyone. And it's quite annoying as someone that keeps the background music or like the menu music on while playing, because it like cuts off, and it makes you think like you skipped the track by accident, and then it goes back. And so that's really weird. But it's fine. So there's more reason not to have that person score.
Do they have? Yeah, that's a good incentive. Do they have DMX in the game?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Right.
I think
time.
Cascade. I don't know. Is he a DJ? Probably. I don't know. Yeah. He released. I don't know if it's new music for this or exclusive music or whatever. But he has a big hand in season 2, especially with the music. But like the whole thing feels like a music centric season. Like all the items you get. The arena is it's the regular arena, but it's like on like a big speaker almost. There's very much around that, but other than that, there's nothing new. Just a new season, new battle pass, new season challenges, new reason to do the weeklies. Yeah,
I was surprised that speaking of music, that like Fortnite with some of their emotes, they use licensed music for some of it. It's only a few seconds, but like I guess it's
still. It's not. Is it anything recognizable?
Yeah,
or is it all? Like...
I mean, it's more like pop music from today, or like stuff you would hear on like TikTok videos or something. But I was just surprised by that.
It's I heard the other day that
I was gonna say
that
like
fella.
No, DMX is in Warzone now, so anything's possible.
Yeah. But I heard that that fella Travis Scott. Is he a musician or like a BMX?
Travis Scott, he's a musician.
Both.
Okay.
Are you thinking of Travis Pastrana?
I don't know. Either way, that guy I heard made more money doing that Fortnite concert. Or I think like his whole tour made $50 million, and that concert alone in Fortnite one night made him $20 million.
Wow.
Which is like, yeah, why wouldn't you want to get a piece of it, right? Like, while it's hot, like, wouldn't you want to jump in? Because it's like, it is unprecedented, like, something of that level. Like, Minecraft hit a certain height, but Minecraft didn't hit this level of height. And, like, Pac-Man hit a certain, right? But, like, not in this way.
I mean, Fortnite's
video games are much more
social
culturally
game.
accepted. Yes, that too, right? Like, it like, integrates in a different way. So yeah, I think Fortnite and Rocket League will both continue to grow. The other MMO of the week, I jumped back into Phantasy Star Online 2 last night. I don't know what it was that, much like Mark being tricked into playing Fortnite this week, something just infected me and said, yeah, reinstall that and do that for a night. maybe it was just like the little ads that episode 6 finally dropped in America. And as someone who didn't start episode 1, I was, had no idea what I was missing, but I'm ready to dive in.
Tails costume.
And then Mark told me that I could get a scythe now. So then I'm like, okay, well, I gotta play the game. Mark and I played a little bit last night, just did some missions, ran around, got, I think, slowly reacclimated with how the game works a little bit and remembering how to play, for me at least. And then I went back late last night, jumped in, and I was like, all right, let's get that scythe, let's get going. Oh wait, I can't until I'm level 75, and I was like level 20 something or other. I think I was like level 21 or 2 maybe. I did a thing that gave me, I don't know if it was like part of the bingo card or just one of the like battle pass mission things or whatever, but I got a 500,000 XP booster thing.
Yeah. So
I just cashed that in and jumped from like 21 to 33 or something. And then, or maybe 31, something like that. It was a big jump. And then Mark said, don't play the story because the story's not good. Just go watch the anime if you're interested in the story. And I said, okay, but what if I did the story for quick XP, right? Smart guy thinking here.
Oh, wait. I forgot that
thinking,
watching the stuff does give you XP, doesn't it?
It doesn't. You get 0 XP. And I didn't realize that.
No, I think
went
after each, like, big chunk.
Oh, each section?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I didn't finish the section.
It's not a lot.
But I figured like that'd be a quick way because you can just kind of mash through because they're not cutscenes. They're like in-engine character models standing at one another and saying words.
Yeah.
You mash buttons until they're done talking, and
like
then
the occasional boss fight.
Exactly. But I did not see any XP from any of that. So I was like, okay, let me back out of this. And as I did, there was an urgent quest that popped up, and it's the seasonal Christmas one that's happening right now. So the Christmas one, I ran through that a couple times really easily too, because there were a bunch of people in there that were super high level that just carried us through, and I had a tri boost that was just giving me bonus XP a whole bunch. The Christmas urgent quest basically has you running in this loop, but along the loop, a random powerful foe will drop down and you have to fight them. There's also a Santa Claus looking thing. It's like this big, gigantic, puffy Santa Claus man that drops down. And you don't beat him by beating him. You need to get hit by him for him to be pleased, and then he'll float off into the sky. So that's kind of cool. And there's a couple other weird ones like that. But the whole time, the first, like, it's a 10-minute mission. You have to get a minimum of 9999 points to pass the mission. But after you hit that, you can just keep going to keep grinding XP, which helped me a lot. The opening part is just Jingle Bells, but like an instrumental version of Jingle Bells playing. It's good. It's a good one. And then at some point it just switches to some J-pop stuff that maybe is a Christmas song, but they sound like they're having fun, so I was having fun. And, Phantasy Star Online 2. I don't know what else to say about that game other than, like...
It's just wacky.
It is, and, like, it's fun to play, but I also walk away from it just like, what am I doing? Why did I play this again? But then I kind of want to go play it more.
I mean, the gameplay is the only reason why I play it.
Yeah, I like customizing my character. I did some scratch cards using some fun currency, and I unlocked So here's the thing. I've had a random craving for a standard donut what has chocolate frosting on the top of it. Just had a random popped into I need it. I want it. I'd like to have it. Last night, do a scratch card. I get a donut what has pink frosting as an accessory for my character. And I'm like, that's a sign. I got to get me this donut, right? I go in, customize the character, change my hairstyle, get the donut fixed in the right position around the mouth. And I go back out, and right before I sign off, I'm like, I still have some fun left. Why don't I do 10 more scratch cards for fun? Cash them in. Chocolate glazed topped, the exact one that my mental brain that I've been dreaming of. I get it. So now I have that. I've got like that really chic black dress still on, but I also unlocked like black gloves. So I look like I'm going to like a gala or something. And then I just have a donut hanging out of my mouth, which is fun. That's
go nuts for donuts.
And I have go nuts for donuts. I got a katana and a bow, and life is good. Or so it seems. So I don't know what I'm going to do about the story, though. I kind of want to get through it just so I can like check that off.
Yeah,
get the achievements or whatever. But
I had to like pick a weird day to just do that. I'm like, ugh, all right.
Yeah, I think like that's going to be a remote play day kind of thing for me. I don't know. Speaking of Sega, Sonic the Hedgehog is coming to Netflix in a new animated series. Not many details revealed except a 2022 targeted release date, and the series will be in 3D. Not like 3D popping at you, but like 3D animation. Couple other quick hits here. Love when autocorrect does this. Damon Ex Machina now has cross-save between PC, Steam version, and Nintendo Switch. The game kind of sold well on Switch from what I remember reading. Do you have any interest in going back to this one, Mark? Cross-save, does that add anything? Does that,
I mean,
cares?
I wasn't too far with the demo. But does the demo transfer over to...
I think maybe it did, but I can't remember.
I don't know. Anyway, I mean, I would definitely play it on Steam. I just forgot that it was on Steam.
Yeah, I think it was earlier this year.
Cross-save stuff's always interesting, but the problem is you have to buy it twice.
Yes, exactly.
Now, that game had some cool body implants.
Yeah, it did. That one was neat. Yeah,
it changed you.
I almost bought this. Yeah, you could change what you looked like and grow. This was on sale for Black Friday, and I almost grabbed it on Switch, and then I just said, like, I don't have time for it right now. But I don't know. I might still go back to it.
I'll get it on sale.
Yeah. Speaking of Steam, Steam now officially supports PlayStation 5's DualSense controller for device input, if you've been waiting for that.
That's cool.
And our final news story of the week, IO Interactive debuted a new trailer to set the stage for Hitman 3. Also DualSense related, they announced DualSense support. A couple of the features shown or discussed. The controller will adjust trigger feel and haptic feedback depending on which weapon you're using as Agent 47, and there's now a tension point. So as you go to like aim down sights to lock in on a headshot for somebody, you'll feel a tension point in the trigger. And then you keep aiming, and when you push past the tension, you'll feel the click and headshot. So that sounds really neat. It sounds like, HD murder.
Can't wait for that one.
Pretty, huh?
So I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to Hitman 3 for sure. There's our last news story, but there were the Game Awards this week, and a couple things came out of that. I'm just going to do a quick rundown, and then you all fill in if I missed anything you were excited about. To open the show, Sephiroth was announced in a new trailer, teasing kind of some further integration of Final Fantasy VII with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and a later announcement from Nintendo confirmed that a special video presentation, assuming with Sakurai, will debut December 17th at 5 p.m. to go over, I assume, character... the whole thing that Sakurai always does, and he'll probably shadow drop that day, if not
sounds right,
that Tuesday thereafter.
I will
Capcom?
be playing Smash Bros that day.
Yeah, dude, yes, I love a new Smash character. How do we feel, real quick, Sephiroth, how do you feel about his addition to the Smash Brothers?
I get the complaints, but I'm stoked.
I think it's cool.
What?
I mean,
yeah.
It's cool that, whenever a character gets added, that they have their opposite be added to those battles or whatever.
Yeah, for the longest time, like, Samus was completely alone until, Zero Suit, but it's still Samus. But, like, having Ridley and Dark Samus both added in the game was really neat. So, yeah, Sephiroth counter Cloud is cool. And I'm sure that's going to flesh out the Final Fantasy representation in the game. Yeah, man, you guys know, we were watching the stuff live. I was banking on him being an Echo Fighter for Cloud, and he would not be his own.
He seems like he would have, like, 2 modes because of the wing. That's what the vibe I'm getting. The funniest thing about this, I was watching reaction videos just because, and I was just, like, face palming whenever somebody didn't pick up that it was Sephiroth based on the music.
Oh, wow.
I was like, this is where people pass and fail for me. Or maybe my age is showing. I don't know. But a new game's out. You should still know.
Yeah. No, I feel like I knew that music even before. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Capcom announced Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, a new entry in the series releasing on Nintendo Switch February 25th, 2021. Additionally, Capcom Arcade Stadium, a digital collection of 32 classic Capcom games coming to Switch in February as well. The thing here is that it seems like it's free to download it's kind of like what they did on Xbox a decade ago or something. Free to download and play, but then you have to buy the games piecemeal.
Didn't Sega do that?
Gathering. Did they? On Switch?
Like their Genesis collection thing? Like, I think at least on Steam, from what I see.
On Steam, that's how it was.
You had to buy all the games separately.
Yeah. I'm okay with it, because I don't always need to play 1943, but I can play, some of the other ones. The Capcom also showed a new trailer for Monster Hunter Rise and announced that a demo is coming to Switch in January. So I'm looking forward to that. I jumped in and did a mission or two in Monster Hunter this week, just kind of like getting excited about that game. Matt, this one seemed to pique your interest. You sat up straight when this popped up. Square Enix announced a free-to-play action shooter for iOS and Android at the Game Awards, Just Cause Mobile, featuring a full story campaign, 30-person multiplayer, co-op missions, and more.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird. I didn't expect that.
That's an interesting one. On the other side, Mark, Evil West was shown off, a new game from Wild Hog Games, the developers behind Shadow Warrior. Evil West is a single multiplayer action adventure game where you play as a Wild West superhero eradicating the vampire threat that has invaded the United States.
Sign me up.
Yeah, that looked very trademark.
Any supernatural Western game, please send it my way.
Yeah, it seems like, go figure, but it seems like Shadow Warrior meets a cowboy story. Like, it had that kind of vibe to it. I don't think there's any tentative release date on that, nor gameplay, but they showed off. I imagine it's a first-person shooter.
More than likely, which,
yeah,
that's fine. It'll be like a updated Dark Watch.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Speaking of first-person shooters, Microsoft kicked off the show following Nintendo with our first look at what the initiative has been working on down in Santa Monica for the last 2 years. In the future, after an environmental disaster leaves the world in chaos, corporations have stepped in to assist and provide the world with some sense of hope. But as Joanna Dark, you will infiltrate those corporations to discover the true motives and shut down the beast. Perfect Dark was shown off. No release date, no anything on that. But yeah, that Perfect Dark comes back, and then put a pin in Perfect Dark for a second, because obviously I'm excited about that. But we closed the show with just Mass Effect is returning is kind of the ambiguous thing that we got. And it seems like that the character, Matt, you're going to know the name better than I do. I don't remember the name of the character, but people seem to believe that the robot hiking through the snow is a known character from the Shepard universe.
I honestly don't remember much of the trailer because I think I was yelling the entire time.
Was it a robot? I thought it was like that blue alien chick.
Or whoever. I don't know. I don't... Yes.
Was it Liara?
There's a name. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, go me.
Okay.
I haven't even played it.
No, yeah. People are pretty sure that it's Zara. Is that what you said, Zara?
Liara is what I said.
Liara. Yeah. So, with both of these games, Perfect Dark and Mass Effect, it has been a long time for Perfect Dark. I think almost 15 years at this point, because that was a launch game for 360. But Mass Effect has not been that long. Mass Effect was 2013 since the third one, and then we had Andromeda a few years ago. Do you think that 3 or Andromeda did more damage to that brand for you?
Oh, Andromeda. I personally think 3 is a really good game. The ending is what the ending is, but I consider 3 to be the ending itself, because it ties up so many loose ends along the way with some side characters that you saw all throughout 1 and 2. Some characters' fates are decided well before we even get into the mess of an ending. But yeah, Andromeda is not a good game from beginning to end.
So we I think you are where you are with Mass Effect. You were very upset that this was
I just
announced.
didn't one, they already kind of said that they were working on a Mass Effect game. So if you're going to drop a trailer, at least give me a fucking name. Not like it will continue.
Right.
You already said it's going to continue.
And there was a confirmation, I don't know with whom, but director or someone on Twitter where somebody kind of said like, are we supposed to ignore that Andromeda ever happened? And whoever it was from BioWare said like, no, this is intentional. So very much it seems like this is a follow-up to Andromeda, and that Andromeda matters.
All right, well, maybe my save will matter and I'll become less disappointed that I played that game.
Maybe. So you are where you are with Mass Effect, rightfully so. Perfect Dark, I feel like I never played too far into that 2005 game, but I loved the original, obviously. So I'm the opposite of... Boy, there are so many weirdo typos in this. There are... I'm excited for that to come back. You are not excited for Mass Effect to come back. And Mark, I know that you were hoping for something with Silent Hill this week, but is there a series that you are truly done with? Like, Matt, are you going to come back to Mass Effect?
I mean, I'm skeptical. I wish there was a name, just, something to clear the air after, what they gave to us a couple years ago. No, I'm just skeptical. I'm going to pay more attention to the game, see how it plays, how they market it. Remember when they showed Andromeda at the Video Game Awards so many years ago, that first reveal trailer, I was not sold on that. I said that did not look good. It took a couple follow-up things for me, like, all right, this looks better, and then it turned into what it was. I should just trust in my gut. I'm going to have to pay close attention to see how I feel about that. And I might just wait and see on that game. I might give it a month or two, see how it's being received, and then go from there. Actually look at reviews instead of being the one kind of reviewing it.
Yeah. Mark, is there a game series that you're like good that if one never comes back, you're okay with it?
Probably Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they pull like a God of War with them somehow. Like I grew up with Duke Nukem 64 and I loved playing that game. Like I like the little movie references. I just whatever. I didn't really see anything past that other than just like going through a cool single player sci-fi shooter thing. That's all I saw it as. But then grow up, step back a bit, and that character is very not with today.
I was gonna say this is definitely not the time to release a new Duke Nukem. And probably not for the foreseeable future
Duke
either, unless they did Duka Nukem, the female version, where it's a little more inclusive because there's a female now.
Well, you had that one game from 3D Realms. I forget the name of it, but that one didn't do too well either.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, like the character would have to change. That's just the biggest thing about it. But
well, that's gonna bring us to the end.
Yeah. Shout out to Back 4 Blood though.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to see. Was there anything else from Game Awards that had you stoked? But yeah, Back 4 Blood looks good.
It's Back 4 Blood, Warhammer 40k Dark Tide, Evil Dead the game.
That's what I was gonna bring up.
And Calypso Protocol, and obviously Arc 2.
Oh my god!
Right? Yeah. Who could forget?
The best reveal. Also, the non-news that I put into our chat yesterday, maybe sort of non-news, but the stream for the Returnal trailer from like the actual Game Awards had that weird stuff with the door. That's very PT-esque. The trailer on like PlayStation's YouTube or whatever does not have the door stuff. Potential non-news, but weird still.
Yeah, that's very strange.
Game looks cool though.
Somebody knew what they were doing or didn't know what they were doing. Yeah, I don't know.
Is Returnal the Frog Fractions for a potential new Silent Hills?
That would be interesting. I don't even know those anymore. Follow us on Twitter. The Free Cheese is at some Free Cheese. Matt is at MattyX131. Mark is at aug_mental. TheFreeCheese.com is a website. Podcast at TheFreeCheese.com is an email address. What are you guys going to jump into this week?
Cyberpunk for sure. I gotta get going on that game. And then Black Ops Cold War is coming to Warzone this week. I will probably finally talk about Black Ops in a little bit more detail with the multiplayer stuff as I begin to play that and its addition to Warzone next week.
Nice. Mark?
Yeah, try to give Cyberpunk some more time, and depending on what I'm feeling throughout the other days, itch between I mean, I'm already dwindling off of Fortnite, but I can see myself doing another game or two here and there, and still try to show some love to 13 Sentinels.
Oh yeah. I need to fall back into Persona 5 if I'm going to get through that game. But I've also been slowly going through first-party GBA releases by Nintendo, so...
Not bad. There's just some good ones there.
Yeah, I've played a lot of them, like, in fits and starts, but never, like, through, so I made a chronological list of all of them, and I'm trying to piece by piece. But I'm going to tell you, playing Phantasy Star 2 last night, Online 2 last night, my big, like, hey, what do I feel like doing? And the answer is, I feel like finishing Metroid Prime 3, and it is about that time of year where I start to feel that Metroid Prime itch, so, I don't know. We might be doing that. Outside of that, we'll be back next week with another one of these. And then we got to figure out Game of the Year stuff soon.
Yeah.
More on that in the coming weeks. That's it. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, listener, for listening. We are out.